Level 1, $318. That's what's in your account. Not your savings, not your investments, your account. The only one you have. You check it standing in the parking lot of a gas station at 9:47 on a Tuesday night because you need to know if the $42 fill-up is going to go through or bounce. It goes through. You sit in the car for a second longer than you need to. You don't know why. You are 23 years old. You have $11,400 in student loans, a credit card at $2,800, and a job that pays you $38,000 a year, which sounds like money until you see what's left on the 15th. You are not lazy. You show up. You do the work. But there is a permanent low grade noise underneath everything you do. And the noise is money, or the absence of it. You don't talk about it. Men don't at this level. You figure everyone else has it figured out, and you're the only one running the math in your head at the grocery store. You're not. Half the guys you know are doing the same calculation. Nobody says it out loud. You move $150 to savings. You move it back 4 days later. This is what zero feels like. Not dramatic, not a moment, just a Tuesday. The first rule: at zero, money is not a tool. It's a temperature, and you are always checking it. You get a raise, $4,200 more a year. Before tax, that's $261 extra a month. You feel it for about a week. Then your transmission starts slipping and the quote comes back at $1,900 and the week is over. But something happens after the transmission. You stop moving that $150 back. You don't know why exactly. Something just changes in how you see the account. You stop treating savings like a holding pen for emergencies. You start treating it like a number that only moves in one direction. That's the beginning. It doesn't feel like the beginning. It never does. Level 2. You crossed $10,000 saved for the first time at 25. You didn't tell anyone. There was nobody to tell who would understand what it meant. Now you're at $25,000. You have $18,000 in savings, $4,200 in a Roth IRA you opened 6 months ago after watching a YouTube video at 1 a.m., and you just paid off the credit card. The balance is zero. You screenshotted it. You sent it to yourself. Not to post, just to keep. You're making $52,000 now. You got a better job. Not your dream job, a better job. You negotiated the offer for the first time in your life and they came up $3,000. You almost didn't ask. You asked. You start reading about money, not the motivational stuff, actual books. You learn what compounding interest really means, not the definition, the feeling of it, the way a number that's growing pulls itself forward. You put $200 a month into an index fund and you watch it do nothing for 3 months, and then you stop watching and just let it run. You still live like you make less than you do. Your friends notice. They don't say anything directly, but you can feel it at dinner when the bill comes and you're the one who does the math instead of just splitting it 4 ways. You are building something. You can't see the shape of it yet, but you can feel the traction. The second rule: $25,000 is not wealth. It's proof. Proof that you can make a decision and hold it. You start a side thing. You don't call it a business. It's just something you do on weekends that makes $300 a month. You don't spend it. You stack it. You reinvest it back into whatever the thing is. You eat the same lunches. You don't upgrade anything. The side thing makes $600 a month. Then $1,100. You don't celebrate. You calculate. Level 3. $100,000 feels different than you thought it would. You thought crossing 6 figures in net worth would feel like arrival. It feels like clarity. Clear and a little uncomfortable. Because you sit down one night and run the numbers honestly. all the way out, and you see what $100,000 growing at 7% a year for 35 years actually becomes. And the number at the end is fine. It is enough. It is not what you want. You are good at surviving. You are not yet good at building. There is a difference, and you are only now starting to see it. You're making $71,000. You have a 401k you're maxing, an emergency fund that's actually funded, a brokerage account with $34,000 in it. You are doing everything right. And doing everything right has a ceiling. The third rule: a salary is a ceiling dressed up as a floor. The day you see it, you cannot unsee it. The side business is making $2,400 a month now. You've reinvested for 18 months straight. You haven't told your employer. You haven't told most people. There's a version of you that wants to announce it, to get credit for it. You don't. You just keep building. Your net worth crosses $100,000 and then keeps moving. $114,000, $128,000. You feel the gap opening between where you are and where a salary alone would have taken you. The gap is not a number. The gap is a feeling, like standing on a moving walkway while everyone else is walking the floor. You start measuring time differently. Every hour has a weight now, not in a stressed way, in a focused way. You are becoming someone who thinks about what an hour is worth and chooses accordingly. You say no to things for the first time, not because you can't afford them, because you've decided your attention is a resource and you're done spending it randomly. Level 4. You are 34. Your net worth is $490,000 and climbing. You have a rental property with $67,000 in equity, a brokerage account at $180,000. The business is generating $8,400 a month. You still drive the same car you bought at 28, not because you can't afford a new one, because every time you think about buying one, you think about what that money does if you don't. You don't talk about any of this. You've learned that money at this level makes people behave strangely. Not badly, strangely. They recalibrate how they see you. Either they want something or they start keeping score. Neither is useful. The fourth rule: below $500,000, you are acquiring assets. Above it, assets start acquiring each other. Your investments returned $19,000 last year without you doing anything. You had one position lose $7,200. You didn't panic. You repositioned. You understand now that loss is not failure. Loss is the cost of being in the game. The people who never lose are the people who never played. You cross $500,000, then $580,000. There's a dinner invitation to a destination wedding that would cost you $4,800 all in. You say no. You feel the friction. One of your oldest friends goes quiet for a few weeks. You notice. You sit with the discomfort. You don't reverse the decision. You are starting to understand that building wealth is not just a financial exercise. It is a continuous negotiation between who you are becoming and who the people around you need you to stay. Most people lose that negotiation without realizing there was one. Level 5. It happens on a Wednesday. No ceremony, no notification. Your brokerage updates and the combined number, the business equity, the properties, the portfolio, sits at $1,040,000. You stare at it. You close the app. You open it again. Same number. You thought you'd feel different. You thought $1 million would arrive with some kind of signal. It doesn't. It arrives like any other Wednesday. There's a quiet satisfaction. And then almost immediately, a clarity that is almost uncomfortable. Because $1 million at 4% is $40,000 a year. That's not freedom. That's a starting point. You know this now in a way you couldn't have understood at 23. The fifth rule: the million is not the destination. It's the proof of concept. The proof that the process works. Now the process scales. You turn down a job offer, $185,000 base salary, full benefits, corner office energy. Your parents think you're making a mistake. You don't explain it fully. You tell them it didn't feel right. That's partially true. The fuller truth is that you've done the math, and no salary will ever outrun what you've built and what it's becoming. The identity shift at this level is not about money, it's about time. You start being extremely selective about rooms you walk into, conversations you have, people you spend energy on. Not out of arrogance, out of arithmetic. Your hours have a value now that you've calculated, and the calculation doesn't lie. You stop attending things you used to attend to feel like you were part of something. The networking events, the finance meetups, the group chats where everyone's hustling and nobody's building. You don't have contempt for it. You just don't need it anymore. The million was the goal. Now it's the floor. Level 6. You are 45. Your net worth is $9.4 million and you stop checking it daily somewhere around $6 million. Not because you stopped caring, because the daily number stopped being the point. You think in cycles now, not months, not years, cycles. You position ahead of them the way a man reads weather before a long drive. You are sometimes wrong. Being wrong at this level means a position underperforms and you rebalance. It does not mean your life changes. You own pieces of 7 businesses. You have 2 properties. Your portfolio is at $4.2 million. Your main business does $6.8 million in revenue and runs largely without you in the day-to-day. You took 3 weeks off last year. You did not check your phone for 4 days of it. This is the thing that money actually buys at the highest level. Not the vacation, the 4 days. The 6th rule: generational wealth is not a number, it's a structure. It's what you build that runs when you stop running it. You have a trust. You have a foundation. You are building something that will exist after you, not out of ego, out of intention. You've thought carefully about what you want your decisions to mean to the people who come after you, and you've built structures around those decisions. The isolation at this level is real, not loneliness, something more specific than that. The things that absorb your attention, deal structure, capital allocation, legacy planning, simply don't translate to most conversations. Your closest friendships are with people who operate at a similar altitude, not by design, by the natural selection of what you can talk about honestly. You give more than you ever have, not for optics, because at this level, money has stopped being a measure of anything meaningful about you. And giving is one of the few decisions that still feels like it has weight, like it means something. You are not the man who stood in that gas station parking lot checking a $318 balance at 9:47 on a Tuesday. Except you are exactly him. You just kept going when he wanted to stop. Somewhere in this city tonight, there is a 23-year-old sitting in a parking lot. His tank is full. His account has $318 in it. He's doing the math. He's trying to figure out if the $42 cleared or not. It cleared. He sits there a second longer than he needs to. He thinks this is a story about money. He thinks if he just makes more, something will resolve. He doesn't know yet that the money is not the story. The story is who he has to become to build it. The decisions that will cost him comfort. The relationships that won't survive the distance. The version of himself he'll have to outgrow, quietly, without ceremony, without anyone throwing a party for it. The machine doesn't ask if you're ready. It doesn't ask if the price is fair. It opens every morning and it takes whoever shows up. Whoever shows up consistently, patiently, without flinching. They compound. The money compounds. The discipline compounds. The identity compounds. And it always starts the same way. $318 in a parking lot on a Tuesday night.